Welcome to One Ash Farm and Dairy. One of my favorite times of the year is actually using the coal burning fireplace in our Victorian home. This is something that I look forward to every single year. So today what I'm going to do is explain to folks out there that have Victorian homes and have coal burning fireplaces and don't know what to do with them, how to actually light a coal burning fireplace in their Victorian home. Now, keeping in mind that you have to have a safe chimney. You must have your chimney inspected. You must make sure that everything's working properly. And before you light a coal burning fireplace, you make sure and follow through with all those things. That is utmost importance when you're dealing with coal burning fireplaces. So the first step of lighting a coal burning fireplace is getting the fireplace ready to go. As you can see, these old coal burning fireplaces have what's called a summer cover. The summer cover actually goes around the coal grate here, and what it does is it's basically a damper for the summertime. So you're keeping away all the birds and all the critters that used to come down the fireplaces. Of course, we don't have that problem anymore due to the fact that most homes now have fireplace cover screens on the top, so it prevents the little chimney swifts and all that coming down the fireplace. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the actual cover. Once we remove the cover, you'll be able to see what an actual coal burning fireplace looks like, and then we'll go to step number one. Step number one, always wear gloves. All the grates, all the things from last season are dirty with soot. Hopefully you've cleaned everything out. Once the season comes to an end, you've cleaned them out. But sometimes we get tired of lighting the fires all season long, and we just don't want to put up with it, so we go ahead and put the summer cover back on the fireplace, and you say, wow, I'm done. Waiting for next winter when you get all excited to start all over again. So some of the fireplaces have this little thing right here, which I call a heat grate, and it keeps some of the coal charge from coming off the fireplace when they fall through. This is the actual grate. It actually has some hooks on it on both sides, and this one protrudes out the fireplace. So we will go ahead and set that aside. This is the summer cover. What we do is we lift the cover up. We need to make sure we have plenty of room, and you pull it out of the actual fireplace like that, and just go ahead and set that aside because you probably won't be using that again. Now what we did was we actually had a fire back put on this coal burning fireplace. The bricks in here are a little bit old, and I didn't want to damage the bricks, so I went ahead and got a 1/4 inch piece of metal steel that was cut to the back of my fireplace where the coal grate actually sits to protect the actual bricks. They do have those. They're called firebacks. They come in different sizes. And you can get them for coal burning fireplaces. In my particular situation, I couldn't find one because the way the coal fireplace is angled, it actually angles up. Now the reason they angle up like this is in order to get a really good draft up the chimney, you need a lot of draft in order to make a coal burning fireplace burn. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and make sure that this surround is actually still really nice and tight onto the fireplace itself, because what holds the coal grate is this. If this were to come down and it was lit with coal, you're going to have a big serious problem, and that's the last thing you want to do with. So make sure that everything is strong. We actually put some safety L-shaped brackets onto ours, so there's absolutely no way that this thing could come off. The next thing we do is we go in here and we actually insert this. Now it's a little difficult to get it in there, and it takes a little wiggle, but once you get it in there, you're good to go. Sometimes you got to move it around, lift it back up, and actually take a look. Now it's in perfect place. Again, make sure that the L shapes are hooked over the brackets. If you can see, they're hooked over the bracket, and this thing's really in a good situation. This is the fire break. We're going to go ahead and leave that there. Okay? The fireplace is clean. Again, I have my chimney checked. There is no nest. There is no breakage. Everything is in perfect working order in order to be able to go ahead and get the fireplace. Some old home people say that, I'm going to go ahead and use the chimneys and not reline them. Some people reline them. That's all up to you. Just make sure that the Chimneys are safe. The last thing you need to do is burn down your house using a coal burning fireplace. These chimneys are old. They've been worn out over the years. Best thing is to have an inspector come out, take a look at it, make sure everything's good before you do any kind of work. We will go to step 2 here in a second, and I will show you how to start lighting the coal burning fireplace. The next step is actually having a ash tray for the bottom of your coal burning fireplace. This can be a challenge. Most of them are ruined, most of them are gone, they've been destroyed, and you cannot find one. So what we had to do is we actually found a pan, just a regular cooking pan, cut the handles on it so they rotate, and we actually were able to slide it right in here like that. This is really important because you don't want all, the coal is going to fall down. As the coal falls down, as you shake the coal, it's going to come into this pan here. If you did not have a pan, it'll just fall right onto the hearth of your fireplace, and then once again, you're looking at a situation that can, cause a fire hazard. So there is companies out there that you can have an ash tray made for these coal burning fireplaces, but for us it worked just fine. We have absolutely no problem with that. We did find this at an antique store, and it's just a little grate that belonged to an actual coal burning fireplace at one time. What we do is we cover it like this, so now we can have the aesthetics of the really pretty look that we want, and we can still have a safety issue here, so everything is safe, and when the coal falls in there, there's a place for it to put the ashes. And then when you dispose of those ashes, make sure that you dispose of them appropriately and you don't set them someplace, because coal will stay hot for a very long time. So that's really important. But as you can see, I have now put the fireplace together for the winter. It is ready to go. Most of these old home fireplaces do not have flues. So it's open straight up all the way up. Ours is about a 45-foot chimney, so it's a huge draft. Our fireplaces do have 4 fireplaces per chimney, and there's 4 flues in the chimney. So we do use most of the fireplaces in this home. Once again, we're ready to go, and the next step will be on how to actually light a coal burning fireplace. In this next step, it's real simple. Now, you have ways you can start your fire. What I like to do is I go ahead, and I have removed my gloves. That's up to you now, because I'm not really going to be messing around with this a lot now. But I get little pieces of wood, okay? And they're just big enough that they go ahead and fit my little fireplace here. I want to heat this chimney nice and well so we get a good updraft. And, once we get a good updraft, all we do is lay the coal on top of this, and I'll show you how that works. I go ahead and buy, and I cheat a little bit, I shouldn't, but I go ahead and buy these large matchsticks, and they sell them at your local stores, your hardware stores, and they're really easy because they burn for about 4 or 5 minutes, and it gets more enough time to get your fire going. A lot of people like going and getting kindling. You can go get kindling and use kindling for a fire starter. Use newspaper rolled up for a fire starter. There's different ways. There's not one right way on how to start a fire. This is the way I do it. You may go ahead and look at other videos, look at other situations, speak to other people on how they do it, but this is the way we do it. We've had great success. The last thing I want to do is light a fire, then come back to it, light a fire, then come back to it, light a fire, come back to it, because it keeps going out. So these little matches are really handy. They're kind of expensive. They're about $9 a box, but you get quite a bit of them in there. And like I said, it makes life a lot easier. But once again, not everybody can get this. Go out and get some kindling, roll up some newspaper, whatever you need to do to start the base of the fire. And for us, we just use some little oak pieces of wood that we've cut into small little pieces, and that works great for us to get the fire going. So now what I'm going to do is I take one of my little handy lighters, and I go ahead and light this little stick. What I do is I wait for it to get going kind of good, because the draft on these old coal fireplaces are so strong that sometimes it even turns these little things off. So it's important that you get a good little burn in there, and then just go ahead and set it down at the bottom. Okay? Once it's going, what I do is I go ahead and take my wood, and I try to put it at little angles. I don't want to have it, sitting on top of the little flame and snuff it out. So what I go ahead and do is do this, and I just get a couple little pieces. It doesn't take much, but you just want to get a nice little hot fire going already. And then just do that, and 4 little pieces of wood will work just great. And then we just do that. Now what we do is we wait about 10 minutes or so, and the wood is going to go ahead and ignite. And once we get a nice little hot fire in this little bin here, we're able to go ahead and start adding the coal, and then you'll see how the coal burning fireplace goes. Okay, now that we've gone ahead and the wood is actually burning a little bit, what we're going to do is go ahead and put some coal on top of this. Sometimes, you know, the wood here, you have to kind of reposition it because you want to make sure that you're getting a nice burn there. But what we're going to go ahead and do is just start going ahead and put some coal on top of the actual wood, and you will see it just kind of cracks as you put it in there. So we're going to start putting some of the coals. We have large chunks of coal here, and we have it in different sizes. And, you know, we just go ahead and just start setting it inside the coal burning grate, and eventually it's just going to go ahead and all catch on fire. It's a very simple task. Just put it in there. Go ahead and lay it on top of the fire, and you'll hear it cracking. And the smoke is completely normal. That's just as it starts. Eventually, as it actually ignites, what it will do is go ahead and turn into a glowing red. So we just take all the pieces of coal and put them in there. We want to make sure they're big enough pieces that they're actually not going to fall through the bottom of the grate. And we're going to go ahead and just set the coal in there. Very simple task. Whatever pieces we have, and as you can see, it's starting. You're hearing all the cracking and crickling already. And we just go ahead and stick all the pieces. Now, it takes about, once you get this process going, we'll be back in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and you'll see the actual coal starting to catch, and then we'll go from there. Now, it's been about 4 or 5 minutes now, and as you can see, my wood's starting to burn really nicely up here, and my coal is starting to burn. So what you can do is, this is an actual Victorian era coal poker, and these were designed specifically for poking the coal. You can go ahead and kind of move it, because you don't want to take any chances on having this fall, you know, outside. And plus, if it falls into here, then you really kind of just wasted some coal. But as you can see now, my coal is starting to burn. And as the wood in the bottom burns out, the coal will kind of settle down. As the coal settles down, it'll take control over. Then what we will do is, once we get a nice bed of coal, we will add some other big chunks of coal to that. I don't like to go really beyond the actual grate. So once this wood burns, that's in here, burns down, the coal falls down, and then what we're going to do is go ahead and set some more coal here. There's nothing more relaxing to sit and listen to a coal burning fireplace. Just to hear the crickly, the crackly. Not only is it romantic in your beautiful old Victorian home, but it just gives an era of a time gone by. And there's just nothing just more relaxing. Now remember, coal does have a very distinctive smell to it. It has a sulfur smell to it. And when you go outside, you will actually see it. People that have coal burning fireplaces and it snows, you'll actually see where the coal dust has actually settled on the roofs. You'll see it where it comes down the chimney on the side. So coal burning isn't for everybody. It's not something that, you know, not everybody wants to do. It really does wear down on the chimney on the outside. It does wear down on the actual roof on the outside, just from the actual coal dust coming and falling back down onto the roof itself. But as you can see here, we enjoy it, we use it, and once we get the radiant heat going, it works just as good as any modern day radiant heater. We can probably get 6 to 8 hours out of a coal full of coal. So it really does last a long time. It lasts a lot longer than an actual wood burning fireplace. Once it starts burning down, all you do is poke it, take the ashes down, add more coal, put your safety grate in front of here so you don't burn your house down. You don't want any little sparks coming onto the floor. And then just sit back, have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, have some friends come over, just have a really good time. But basically, this is the way the coal burning fireplace gets lit. In about 15 more minutes or so, I will go ahead and show you what level of preparation this has taken us all to, and exactly where we're at with the coal burning. And I'll let you enjoy it for a few minutes. Okay, now it's been about 15 minutes since we lit the coal stove, and as you can see, all the wood underneath has ignited and the coal is now burning nicely and hot. Now, it will not stay burning like this. It just ignited, so it's nice and hot, and it's going. In about 15-20 minutes or so, the fire will settle down and the embers will glow, and then that will be the proper way a coal burning fireplace burns. Coal does not have fire like this. Right now what's happening is it just ignited. That wood that we had in there is ignited. So in a little while the flames will settle down, and I wish you could feel the heat. It's just beautiful heat. It's warming up the room nicely. But in a few minutes it'll settle down, and I will come back and show you in about 15 minutes what it looks like. So now, as you can see, the fire is going. It's glowing. It's warm. And I go ahead and put my screen up front. Now, enjoy the warmth, sit back, enjoy the day, and thank you for watching. This is how you start a coal burning fireplace.